Kurt Lundstedt is the product manager for SOLIDWORKS Enterprise Product Data Management. He's been in the CAD/CAM industry for over 25 years, 13 of which earlier were in CAD/CAM, and over the last 12 years he's been with SOLIDWORKS focusing on Enterprise PDM. Kurt will be discussing real-life issues with sharing bill of materials data with your entire product team and give a demonstration on how easy that is to do in SOLIDWORKS EPDM. Kurt, thank you, and it's all yours.
All right, Cliff, thanks for that nice introduction. As Cliff mentioned, we're going to have some polls during the presentation here, and we're going to start off with one right now. This first question is ask, what direction does BOM data flow in your company? So what this means is if you start off with your CAD files and create some kind of a bill of materials, and that information is given to downstream departments like for ERP or MRP systems, then that would be the one direction. If your company creates BOM information in spreadsheets or in your ERP system, and that's given to the CAD department or the designers to build up the design, then that would be the second choice there.
Looks like we're about 50-50 for upward and down, or about equal for upward and downward. And yeah, let me close the poll here and share the results. So 39% upward, 38 downward, and 24 not sure.
Okay, great, thanks. So today we're going to look at 6 common problems that companies face when sharing BOM information with other departments. I'll do a quick run through of those right now. First one is other departments needing access to CAD applications. So if you have a BOM table on your CAD drawing, whether it's SOLIDWORKS or some other CAD program, to get that information out of there, you need a license of that CAD package and open that up, open the file up and export the table in some way. And that's obviously you need knowledge of the CAD system and a license to do that. The other one is a CAD BOM. The one that's shown on the CAD drawings doesn't necessarily include everything that needs to go with the product. And you can add files, dumb files to like SOLIDWORKS that just have metadata information, but a lot of times this isn't done. So, and then your BOM from your CAD isn't really the complete parts list, if you will. Next one is extracting data from CAD is tedious. So like I mentioned, once you have that license of the CAD application, typically whoever needs it asks the engineer or designer or somebody that has access to the CAD, they have to open up the file, they have to export the data to another type of file like an Excel or some type of text file, and then either post that exported data to on a drive or send it in an email. So that whole process can be tedious. The fourth one, downstream departments aren't notified of product changes. So if there's changes to a product, if items get added or subtracted from the CAD data or the data itself, downstream departments aren't notified of that, and they might be using outdated information in their systems. The fifth one is difficulty in determining what file represents the final design, because many companies store their files in many different locations, even on local workstations. It's difficult to tell which one is the final design and which one should be used to get the product data from, or the BOM data. And the last one is manual entry of data into other business systems. So this is where somebody would take the drawing or any kind of electronic form of the drawing and actually retype the data into a business system. So we're going to show you the ways that EPDM, Enterprise PDM, can address this. Okay? But before we do, let's have another poll question. So in this one, how do you currently communicate your bill of material information from your CAD system to other departments that don't have access to CAD? So in the case where if your information flows from another system into CAD and doesn't flow back out, then you would just have that, you would answer the last choice there. But is it paper-based via printed drawings that have a BOM table on them? Is that how they're shared? Or is it electronically, where you electronically export the CAD drawing to a neutral format like a PDF or an image file or maybe even DXF or DWG, and that is shared downstream with other departments that can view those files? Or is it electronically via exporting the BOM table out of CAD to a neutral format? So this is where you'd actually export just the table itself, and that would go to an Excel or XML or some type of a text file. And the fourth choice there, if you're automatically doing it via a PDM PLM connection to your ERP MRP system. So sorry for all the acronyms there, but if you have a data management system or a system that connects right to your business system, then that would be the appropriate choice.
Here's the results: 33% paper-based and 23% electronically.
Okay. So we're going to take a look at these problems one by one and see how enterprise can address them. So the first one, other departments needing access to CAD applications. The enterprise solution includes that all users have access to BOM information without needing access to the CAD application. BOM information is available right inside Windows Explorer and can be saved right to CSV format or other ways. Enterprise PDM is built into Windows Explorer, which we'll see in the demonstration in a little bit, and the BOM information from all the CAD data is available at your fingertips. And the BOM can be viewed in multiple formats, so you can have different templates that are used for different departments to show different information depending on how they'd like to see it. The second problem that we looked at is the CAD BOM doesn't include every product, every item. The way Enterprise takes care of this is by allowing you to attach non-CAD files to the CAD file just by a simple reference, and then that would show up in the BOM of the CAD file. You can save and edit separate BOM files. So there's a separate file type that Enterprise PDM has. It's a BOM file that you can create from a CAD BOM, but you can add other line items to it. And we also have virtual documents in EPDM that can be used as placeholders for future documents. So you could create a virtual document for a SOLIDWORKS file, and then once you have the real SOLIDWORKS file, you can replace it in the system. Or you can keep virtual documents there just to represent different items that you might use, like paint or glue or packaging that you use commonly, but you don't want to mess with putting in your actual CAD model. The third one was extracting data from CAD is tedious. So the way Enterprise can handle this is that the access to the CAD BOM table information from SOLIDWORKS drawings and assemblies, you can do that without a SOLIDWORKS license. So in SOLIDWORKS part and assembly file, or I'm sorry, assembly and drawing files, you can add a BOM table. And with inside Enterprise PDM, you can access that exact table information without even opening up the drawing or needing a license of SOLIDWORKS to do so. And you can export information right from Windows Explorer. I alluded to this before, that information is easily, you can open it up right in Excel, or you can save it off as a CSV or a comma separated value file. And I just mentioned the open a BOM directly in Excel. And the fourth problem was downstream departments are not notified of product changes. So to handle this, Enterprise PDM has automatic notifications that can send out emails when files reach an approved state. So there's an electronic workflow that allows you to move a file through various sign-offs, and when it gets to a release state, emails can be sent off to people letting them know, and those notifications or emails have hyperlinks in them, so the person that receives that can click on the hyperlink and it'll take them right to the file inside of Enterprise PDM. And we can tie into any SMTP compliant email system like Outlook or Lotus Notes, as well as there's an internal notification system within inside the PDM if you don't want to use your other email client. Access to BOM information is controlled by electronic workflow. Again, the workflow will determine who has access to the files and when. So if a file is in development or in design engineering, you can make it so that manufacturing and purchasing can't even see those files and thus couldn't get to the BOM information until it reaches a certain point, like out for quote or whatever the state that you determine is when they can see it. The fifth problem is difficulty in determining what file represents the final design. So with Enterprise PDM, it has automatic versioning and revisioning. So you don't have to worry about moving files to different folders anytime you make a change because you want to keep your history. The system automatically creates new versions of files every time you do a check-in operation. And you can always go back to old versions if you want. And if you want to eliminate the older versions, you can do that as well with our cold storage scheme. And revisions can be applied automatically, so you can go from A to B to B to C or A.1 or whatever your revision scheme is, automatically via the workflow. So when a file gets approved, you can move it from revision A to revision B and update the drawings and update all the metadata associated with it. We allow you to compare BOM from different versions. So if you want to look at what changed from version to version, you can do that with our BOM compare tool, and I'll show you this when we get to the demonstration. There's one location for data instead of multiple servers and file stores. So if you always have one location that you go and look at, there's powerful search tools within inside EPDM to help you find the information quickly, and it's one place to look. And obviously, again, electronic workflow will control access and identify what designs are approved or released. The last problem that we'll look at before we move on is manual entry of data into other business systems. So with Enterprise PDM, you have easy access to electronic BOM information that can be imported into other systems. Like I said, you can save it off as a CSV, and that CSV file might be able to be read into your business system. We have automated BOM data export that can be kicked off via a workflow. So again, when a file reaches a released or an approved state, the system can automatically create a file, which is an XML file, which shows hierarchy of the BOM data, and that can be saved to anywhere on your machine or your network, so that it could be read automatically into your ERP system, or it could notify the person that would be responsible for feeding it into the ERP system, and they would know exactly where to go get that file. Beyond that, we have many partners that create connections to various ERP, MRP systems. So if you want to connect to SAP or Infor, JD Edwards, or Oracle Apps, something like that, you could use one of our partners who's done that before. In addition, there's a full API that comes with Enterprise PDM. Doesn't cost anything extra. So if you want to get into programming, it's using .NET programming language or other C# or C+, whatever language you want to work in, you could use the API to make your own connection. That brings us to our third poll question, which asks, does your company typically manually key in BOM information from your CAD system? So that would be a person receives a drawing file or receives a printed drawing, and they look at the BOM table on those files or drawing paper and key in the information to ERP.
So we're looking at 78% yes.
Okay. Well, that's maybe we can help them out with some stuff here. All right. So let's take a look at Enterprise PDM in action and see what it can do. Enterprise PDM is built into, like I said, is built into Windows Explorer, and the way we connect to it is through these little icons that show up in your file list, just like it was another folder. So under my C drive in my computer, you could see with all my other folders, I actually have 4 vaults in here. So, but we're going to be working with this one vault. So if I click on that vault, it's just going to ask me to log in. Now with this user, I haven't assigned a password so I can get in quickly. We can actually tie the login information to Active Directory. So when you log into your computer, you wouldn't have to go through the separate login for Enterprise PDM. That can be done automatically, or you could just use the same username and password, so you don't have to remember 2 different sets. So you can see when we're inside EPDM, the folders that are in the vault show up as green. And in this case, in my vault, I've just created a folder basically for all different departments. You can set up your vault structure any way you want. And so if I dig a little deeper into here, we can go to my engineering department. You can see I have a number of projects that are sequentially numbered, and those are done automatically via a template function inside of Enterprise that can automatically assign new numbers to new serial numbers. So if I created another project, I'd get the project 2016. And under those projects, I have a number of different folders, and all those folders would be recreated under the new project. As you can also see, we have on top here, we have our file or folder list, which shows all this information, just like you might see in Windows Explorer. But you can add other columns to this information that are pertinent for the file. Like we want to see the revision of this document, we can see it here, the description, the part number, what state it's in, is it approved or waiting for approval, if it's checked out by somebody, and of course like file type, modified, and so on. So there's a lot of any variable or any piece of custom property that you want to display in Windows Explorer that's associated with the file, you can do that. And it's not just SolidWorks files. It's Windows documents like Office, Excel, PowerPoint, email files, images, AVIs, that type of thing. You can put any file in the system and assign properties to it. On the bottom of the screen here, we have our version tabs, and I'll start off with the Preview tab, which shows us an image of the file. And the way I have mine set up is that I'll see a bitmap image first, but when I click on that bitmap image, it'll fire up eDrawings for me. And this is just Enterprise telling me that I have modified one of the files referenced by this assembly has been changed since I last saved this file, and it just tells me it needs to be rebuilt. So what I'm looking at here might not be current. But as you can see, I can investigate the model right here inside of Windows Explorer without opening a separate application. I can measure inside here. I can look at markups, change my views, and so on. The next tab is what we call our data card, and the data card stores all the information about the file, so part numbers, descriptions, that type of thing. These pieces of information can be pushed and pulled from the represented file. So in this particular file, this SolidWorks assembly, I have a description. Well, if I change the description here, it'll update the SolidWorks file. If I change in the SolidWorks file, it'll update my database and my data card. And we can have different data cards for different file types. So here's my data card for my part file. You can see it has some more information, like whether it's purchased or built, the material, which might not make sense for an assembly document. And if you have Word, Excel, PowerPoint, PDFs, you can have different data cards associated with those files if you wish as well. The version tab just gives me some information about what I have in my local cache, because Enterprise PDM works on a local cache basis. So what that means is that we have a centralized server where the files are stored, and you can have replicated servers. If you got more locations throughout the world, you can do that. But then it brings the data down to the user's workstation when they're working on it. So it copies if you need a file, it'll copy it down to your local workstation. So when you're doing opens and saves in the system, you're doing it from your local workstation. So in the case of SolidWorks, if you're opening and saving files to a network location, you're clogging up your network, and it's taking a lot longer to do so compared to if you're doing it on your workstation. So Enterprise gives you the best of both worlds. You have storage, centralized storage on a server that can be backed up, but when you're working, you're on your workstation. So opens and saves are much quicker when you're using Enterprise PDM. The fourth tab over here is the Bill of Material tab, which I'll get back to in a little bit and explain more about what we can do inside there, since that's what the seminar is all about. The Contains tab shows me all the references in the file. So in the case, even if I have a suppressed file here, it would show up as long as I'm not showing my configurations. If I turn on configurations, you can see I can look at the Contains tab for different configurations, and I can pick which configuration I want to look at to see what files are being referenced by it. The Contains also doesn't, another difference between the Contains and the bill of material is the bill of material will honor the SolidWorks setting for exclude from BOM and don't expand, if it's a subassembly, don't expand children. So that will be honored by the bill of material information, but Contains would show all those references. And then lastly, the Where Used tab, which is very useful, shows me where this particular subassembly is used. It's only used in one assembly, and that assembly is used on that drawing, and that drawing actually has an associated eDrawing to it. So you can see there's a connection here between the SolidWorks drawing and the eDrawing. Now that wasn't done by SolidWorks, that was done by Enterprise PDM. When this drawing got approved, we have tasks that can automatically create eDrawings or PDFs or whatever your output file might be, and create that output file, maybe put it in a manufacturing or a vendor folder, and you can also associate the two. So if I looked at this eDrawing wherever that lives, you can see it's in manufacturing release drawings. It would show that you would see the relationship to the drawing. All right, so let's get back to the Bill of Material tab, and we'll take a look at this assembly. And right up top here, you can see that I have, well, let me go to a larger assembly to give us a little bit more to look at. Up at the top here, I have a selection where I can pick different BOM templates. So my standard one is just my BOM template, but I also have a manufacturing template that will list the data, different data in my BOM view. So I got revision, I got a part type, whether it's built or purchased. So if I scroll down through my list, I think I have at least one purchase. There's a purchase part in there. And if I want, if it's a real long list, I can certainly just sort on those columns. And it also, in this case, is listing the material. Okay. I can look at different configurations. If I have different configurations of file, like for this one, I've got a number of different configurations. So if I look at my long span, which is a kind of a fence assembly for this miter saw, you can see that the description of this part is the same part, just a different configuration. I have a long span, I have a short one that uses a different configuration. Now let's say that this is a small assembly, and it's easy to see what the changes are. But if I didn't have that luxury, I could use my compare. So in this case, I'm going to compare my short span to my long span to see what the difference is. And Enterprise PDM shows me exactly what changed between those two versions. My source version is the configuration short span, and it's comparing it to the long span. So this shows the value of what's in the long span compared to what's in the short span. And it highlights it with an orange color. If something was added or deleted between those configurations, it would show up as well with other colors. So if I go back up to this assembly, which is, it's not a real large assembly, but let's say and I want to see what the difference is between revisions, which is another thing we can compare. So if I'm at revision B, but if I want to look and see what it was like at revision A, I can look at that comparison. And as I scroll down here, I can see that I had a different revision of this assembly. This part was added in revision B, and this part was eliminated from revision B. So we can tell which items were added and which were taken away. Okay, and then these can, and I can open up this information. If I want to do a report of some type, I can see this information right inside of Excel. Just by hitting that button, I'm able to export that data automatically. Okay. And you can see here's the different information that was in that report. I won't save that. Okay. All right. So looking at some of the other controls here, I can show this tree to the left side, which shows all the subassemblies, which I can collapse or expand upon. If I hover over these files, I get a nice little thumbnail that gives me an idea what that part is, what it looks like. I can show this BOM in an indented list, or I can see a flattened BOM, which takes out all the subassemblies and just shows me parts and rolls up all the quantities. So if the part was used once in 4 different assemblies, it would show quantity 4 here. And then I can also look at a top level, which just shows the files that are associated right at the top level of this particular assembly. I can, at this point, open it as a CSV file, and this time I'll create level information. So if I do that, right inside of Enterprise or right inside Windows Explorer, I can export this and open it right up in Excel. Okay, so instantly I don't need to have SolidWorks loaded. All I need is access to EPDM and that particular file, and I can save it out right here into Excel. Another way we can do this is I can save it off, do a save as, and I can pick a CSV file. We also have what we call a BOM file, and I've created one earlier here, and it's just a separate file type that we have that's a BOM. And to show those, I can go to my bill of materials, and I can look at here, and you can see I've got this checked out. And inside here, if I wanted to add a row or something like that, I can insert a row, below that, and type in information, and maybe I want to add like a carton here or something. And then, so I can add information to the BOM like that. And this becomes an object that I can send through workflows and get approvals on. And I can also export data right from this BOM. So that's one way I can add other items to the BOM. Another way that I can do that is I'll go back to showing my files, and if I have a different drawing, now I'll go to a different let me go to a different assembly here. And actually, so this Enterprise PDM works with many different CAD systems. Here's an inventor assembly, okay? And this inventor assembly, it shows up just like it was with SolidWorks file. Here's all my all the parts that make up that assembly. But you can see down here I have a PDF that's associated with that. And the way that I did that is all I need to do is I would check out this file, and then I could go get any other file. Doesn't matter. It could be another inventor file, or it could be something else. So like if I go into my, maybe I want this PDF or this PDF, and I can just do a Control-C. I can head back and do what we call a paste as reference, and that's going to paste the reference onto this assembly. Okay, and now when I check in, we'll see that those items, that additional PDF, has now been added to this assembly. So I didn't even need to model anything, and I could post it right there. Okay. Lastly, I know we're kind of running a little over our 22 minutes, but one thing I wanted to show you lastly, this is the admin tool for Enterprise PDM, and there's a lot of different, this is how you would manage your system, create and configure it. It's very easy to use. One of the nodes here is data import export. So we can import data from ERP. So if you want to import data about a file, you can do that, and we can export. So we can have these rules that what I alluded to earlier in the presentation was that at certain points in a workflow, you might want to automatically send out an XML file that can be read into your ERP system. You can do that with this function. And we can have alias sets. So if you've called the variable, let's say part number in your Enterprise PDM, but it's part underscore num in ERP, you can use that alias set so when it goes out that the variables are identified correctly. Okay, and that is kicked off in our workflow. So here's our, you can have any number of workflows you want, but this is the workflow that I'm using for my SolidWorks files. And here's my pending approval state to my approved state. So this action, this is a transition here, and there's an action in here that says export data to XML. So when those files go from pending approval to approved, that export, the XML export is automatically created. I don't have to, it's built into the workflow and I don't have to worry about it. All right, so let's continue on here. Before we finish up, just want to mention some benefits that we didn't have time to show you today that are associated with EPDM. We talked a little bit about the electronic workflow, but this is a way that you can manage your processes, your document approval processes, and other processes in your business. There's automatic notifications. You can get notified when things happen in the system via email or the internal notification system. Enterprise comes with multiple CAD integrations. You don't have to buy anything. They all come included with the CAD editor. That includes AutoCAD, Inventor, Solid Edge, and Pro Engineer. We didn't mention templates, but those are ways to create new folder structures and new files in a consistent manner with inside of Enterprise PDM. You saw the admin tool. I only showed you one little part of it, but that's a tool you would use to configure the system, and it's very user-friendly and easy to use. And it's all-inclusive. So you buy one seat of Enterprise, you get all the CAD integrations, you get SQL Server, you get multi-site replication. Everything's included. There's no separate modules to buy. Okay?